It's come to that time of the day when we celebrate speeches. And you can laugh and cry and do whatever you want. But first to speak is the father of the bride, Mr. David Morris. Sorry.
Right, I've got my idiot sheet as well, so I'm going to need that. But yes, I'm David. I'm Charlotte's dad. You probably guessed that. You'll be all right. You probably guessed that from the seating position. So maybe the looks as well. I don't know. And more many wedding dresses. So yeah, there we go. So I'd like to welcome you all first, because I know some of you have come quite a long way across the pond and stuff. So thank you for that. That's great. The effort. Seen family that I haven't seen for quite some time today as well, which is lovely. Catch up and everything. Obviously with Charlotte, I had my Kleenex ready when she came out earlier. I was so nervous about seeing her. She kept me waiting for a little while in the lobby there, but I think you'll appreciate it was worth the wait. I can't quite believe, we were talking to Mum earlier, Sally, saying that she looked like a little pork chop when she came out. And she was like, a scrag end, really. She's blossomed a little bit since then, I think, so I think you'll agree. So. Yeah, I did wanted to wait a bit longer for Chris. I wanted to Charlotte to go around the block maybe a couple more times. It was a really comfy ride and stuff, so I thought, I could get used to this riding around. So we thought, no, we better go in. So anyway, also the ceremony I think was really lovely. It's a lovely church, and I hope you all enjoyed the service there. We did a sterling job there. I just realised you're recording this, so that's made me even more nervous now. There you go. I'm only going to do this once, I hope, Charlotte. Anyway, at this point I'm supposed to tell you a few humorous stories about Charlotte. Now, I was talking to her mum again earlier as well, and she reminded me of so many more than I can remember. I've still got these rose-tinted spectacles of Charlotte being a perfect little angel growing up. Oh no, talked to her mum again earlier, I realised that wasn't the case. She kept us on her toes, definitely. She's always had a lovely family around her, so she's always had grandma and grandpa really close. My nan, my mum even, she was here. She was at the church today, but Nan's, I'll let you know that Nan's feeling a bit better now. She was at the church, but overcome a little bit, so she is 87, so we'll let her off. Was a little bit hot as well, wasn't it? So, but she's was pleased that she got to the church at least anyway. So, sorry, yeah, humorous stories now. I'm saying humorous stories. You've got to laugh now actually, because they're probably. I thought they were humorous, but you might not. That's going to be the problem. Yeah, we had this. Charlotte went to ballet. She used to love charging about and dancing about. She thought, where can we channel some of this energy? I know, ballet classes. So she got this little tutu outfit, little blue tutu outfit, looked gorgeous. Not a lot of hair at the time, Charlotte. She was, should we say, follically challenged when she was little. And I used to get told off by Grandma, actually. I used to call her Desert Head.
You can't call her that, it's funny.
It's probably role reversal now. She'd probably start calling me that soon. But yeah, so she went to this ballet class, and they had the end of term show. And so we thought, yes, it's a great chance to video this, so get the video camera out. And when we play it and run it back, all you can hear throughout the whole show, Charlotte, Charlotte, Charlotte! And she was running amok. She wasn't paying any attention to any of the moves they'd done at all, completely doing her own thing, totally freelance dancing, whatever, she was freestyling, you know? So that was funny when we played it back, and so you can all enjoy that, Charlotte. I've got that video here now. I wouldn't get you through that. What else was the other thing I was saying about the Oh yes, the other concern I had today was whether I'd have to carry you down the aisle, because when she was much smaller, she would not walk anywhere. We would go out the door and she'd look up at me, little arms and great big eyes staring up at me. Difficult to resist even now. Caca, caca. And I'm thinking, oh my God, I've got to carry her. We carry her everywhere, and I'm thinking if she gets worn out today in a drive down, really, she's not going to say caca as she was walking down, but fortunately we got away with that one, so that was good. Yeah. Oh, the other thing, when she got a bit older, is the spider issue. She got to uni.
Oh my God.
And I've dropped her off, she's all sorted out, get back home. A couple of days later, Dad, this is late at night, Dad, there's a spider in my bath. I'm 120 miles away, Charlotte. What am I going to do? I think he might have crept away by the time I get down there, so those sort of little things. But there's someone else now that can probably chase the spiders away. Yes, of course, Chris, you're not scared of spiders, are you? You're not? That's all right then.
You've got a special
So I won't be getting any calls from you, so Anyway, there's several other guys got to have some speeches here, so I'll move on quickly. Yeah, just to say how proud I am of her today. She looks absolutely gorgeous, I'm sure you'll agree. So happy that she's met such a lovely man in Chris. I'm even more delighted that he supports a football team that aren't as good as mine. So that makes my bragging rights even better, so that's superb. And also I'd like to welcome Andrea and Kevin, Nick into the family as well. It's really lovely to be all part of it all together. So I'm delighted that she's met someone so lovely, and I think he's going to really support her. And as a dad, that's really all you can want, somebody that's going to take over and chase the spiders. So really, I think that's, I don't want to, I am supposed to give some sage advice about marriage as well. But actually, on second thoughts, I don't think I'm best. I'm not the best person to give advice. There's a couple over there maybe you might want to speak to. They've been together a little while, so maybe a chat with Grandma might be the way to go forward. So, my track record's not the best. Moving on quickly. Yeah, well, really that's it. Charlotte, you know, you've always been a little ray of sunshine for me. You've always had that lovely smile. I've always been so proud of you. You've really, over the years, been through a couple of difficult times and you pulled through. And I couldn't have been prouder today when you came out. It's so lovely, and you said some sweet things to me in the car on the journey, which will stay private and which will, you know, deep in my heart. I'm amazed that I haven't cried today because I'm a soppy sovereign. So, yeah, it just made me super proud. So I'm delighted that you met such a lovely man too, in Chris. It's a pleasure to have a son-in-law like you. So. Yeah, I think really that's just a toast now then to this beautiful couple, really. If you'd like to raise your glasses and to Charlotte and Chris.
Charlotte and Chris.
Cheers.
Oh yeah, I think you're supposed to clap now.
Yes, let's hear it for them. Come on. Give a round of applause. For those of you not personally speaking, it's a little bit daunting if you don't do it all the time. So. Anyway, it's now time.
Am I back? I'm loving it.
No. I'll rent you one. It's now time for the man of the hour. So let's hear it for Mr. Christopher Aylward.
Hello everyone. Right, thanks David for your kind words and good wishes. I don't do public speaking and writing speeches is a little bit of a challenge for me. So I tried to take lots of advice from those who've been through all of this before. The majority of it was unrepeatable in polite society, but any of the useful advice that I did take, I just ignored it all, and just as I usually do, and wrote it from the heart. So, on behalf of my beautiful wife and I, we thank you all for coming today. It's really humbling to look around and see so many people who are important to both Charlotte and I here today. There's two families who've been brought together, friends old and new. And you have come here all in the knowledge that you're going to be paying £6 for a vodka and coke. So, that is plus, it wouldn't be the same without you, but then it would be much easier to make this speech to an empty room. So, sadly, with all the happy events, there are always some friends and family who can't attend, including our cat Ginger. But they are with us here in our hearts and our thoughts. And some of them, I know, are looking down on us right now with beaming smiles on their faces. So, if we could have a first toast to absent friends and family. And cats. So, what can I say to my new in-laws? Well, since I met Dave and Sally, I've been treated as one of the family, and that has made the journey to today that much smoother and easier. Originally, I had this vision that David was going to be this Robert De Niro type character, and Sally was just going to be shaking her head disapprovingly at anything that I said about myself. Luckily, this has not been the case. I'm actually pleased that with David for actually allowing me to marry Charlotte, because obviously I'm an Arsenal fan, he's a Man United fan, so I'm pleased that he's allowed me to do that. But as I say, luckily it's not been the case. Sally has already given me the best nickname a man could get from his mother-in-law, Mr. Perfect.
Yes.
Just confirm that this is true, and I'm not making it up.
Your birthday is just before mine.
Excellent.
Wait till she gets to know you then.
Yeah, this is true. I genuinely could not have asked for nicer in-laws, and I thank you for bringing Charlotte up to be the woman that I've married today. But and I hope that I can meet your expectations as your new son-in-law. I was looking up the meaning of my surname recently, and if you did have any doubts, Aylward is in fact an old English name meaning noble protector. So, I can assure you I intend to live up to that.
I'm going to Google that.
To my mum and dad now, Kevin and Andrew. Thank you for everything that you've done for me. I don't know how you've put up with me for 30 odd years, but your love, support and generosity has never wavered, but it has definitely been tested on more than one occasion. Such as, when I was about 3 years old, I locked Mum out of the house and refused to open the front door again, which meant a quick call to Kent Fire Brigade and then breaking into the house to go back in. And when I was even younger, to surprise me at Christmas, Dad bought a Santa costume, painstakingly dressed up in it, even got a different pair of glasses, came down to the bottom of the stairs, only for me to say, "Hello, Dad." Needless to say, that did not go down well. When I first told you about Charlotte, I got the expected Spanish Inquisition from Mum. But the welcome you have both given to her from the first moment has been amazing. And it means so much to us. Although the fact you did buy her more birthday presents this year means that, than I did, means that I'm going to have to up my game, so thanks guys. Okay, so thank you to my godfather Paul and my new brother-in-law Adam for the readings at the church. James Skinner for the mics, and also the fantastic invitations and orders of service. They were really amazing. My new uncle-in-law, Nick, for driving me to the church. And Charlotte's grandparents, Fred and Annette, and my granddad Peter, for your contributions. And there's a special thank you to Dibsy over there, who's our DJ for the evening, as he's flying out to Dubai tomorrow for holiday. Was it to do a set out there as well?
No, it's holiday.
It's still holiday. But you delayed the flight, so. And he has told me that he's not playing any One Direction songs, but that may be because we wouldn't pay him if he did. So, speaking of Fred and Annette, it's actually, today is a very special day for them, because it's also their 56th wedding anniversary. It's just a quick toast here.
Yeah, I'd just like to say a big toast to my grandparents, Annette and Fred, on their 56th.
Annette and Fred.
Right. So, thank you to my ushers, my brother Nick, and Cole. Well, I'm not paying you for the debacle that was the church music. You failed. Miserably. And also, I think I should be thanking them, my best men, who are James and Reese. Thank you for all making sure people were making the day run smoothly and making sure everyone was in their right place at the right time. Something you need to be aware about James and Reese, though. Some of you know I work in health insurance, and I've come across some weird and wacky conditions since I've started working there. There's one condition that I've come across recently, which unfortunately both James and Reese have. Reese, yours is particularly bad, actually. It's very severe. It's a chronic condition with no known cure. Its symptoms are delusion and counterfactual thinking, which is the medical term for thinking things have happened when they actually haven't, by the way. You can have that one. And explosive verbal diarrhea. It's called bullshititis. So you might want to stand well back and ignore everything I'm saying. Bridesmaids, Lucy, Winnie and Caroline, you look fantastic today. Thank you for making sure you got Charlotte to the church on time-ish. And thank you for keeping her calm and composed over the last 24 hours. It's a job that I do not envy in the slightest, so well done to you. In actual fact, it's thanks to Lucy that we are all here today. Because it was at her birthday that Charlotte and I first met. So really, the biggest thank you should really go to you. So if you could please stand and raise your glasses to the bridesmaids. Okay. Yeah, just a bit. Just mention the bride. So, Shand, Charlotte, my beautiful, amazing wife, who looks absolutely stunning today. I've never seen you more beautiful, and seeing you walk down the aisle very quickly when I turned around. It's the most beautiful sight that I've ever seen. I'm under orders not to make you cry, so hopefully I won't go on for too long. As I said, I first met Charlotte 5 years ago at Lucy's birthday party. However, it wasn't until 2 years later that I got a text from Lucy saying, what do you think of my friend Charlotte? And I said, yeah, she's really, really cool. Why? Oh, no reason. A week later, we ended up meeting up in the romantic location that is Tunbridge Wells Costa Coffee, where Shan spent the majority of the time looking at the floor rather than me. But my boyish charm and a very large latte seemed to get the job done.
It wasn't Costa.
They're next to each other. They're next to each Thank you. God. This is how it starts, mate. This is how it starts. I'm in the doghouse. I thought I'd list some stuff that, or reasons why I love you. I love how you laugh at my silly jokes. Stroke a cat every time you see one in the street. Sing like Rona Keating's Boyzone songs. Although I will admit I do join in with you. Find the word bodice funny. Yeah, you have to say it like bodice. Yeah, for some reason, I don't know why, and it makes and how you come up with what I call shandisms, which are funny sayings and stories. I've done nice one. Such as the time she looked at me, laughed, and said, "You would look really funny if you were short." But I've never met anyone as addicted to cheese as you. And the fridge has been constantly filled with it ever since you moved in. I did come home once, and she said, "I've done something really, really bad." I was like, what? I'm eating 3 slices of dairy leaf. But all of this and more is why I asked you to marry me. When I proposed, I knew exactly what I was going to say. I spent ages getting the words right, much as I have with this speech as well. But when I got down on one knee, her eyes widened, and she said, "What are you doing?" This threw me off completely, and I ended up just saying, will you marry me if you still love me? Like a 14-year-old boy. Luckily, she said yes. I feel blessed to be able to spend the rest of my life with somebody who puts a smile on my face every single day. I'm looking forward to seeing what the future has in store for us, and to spend it with you will truly be an honour. So, finally, last toast to Charlotte.
To Charlotte.
Thank you.
Chris, come on. Excellent Groom speeches, and now the best men have something to live up to. So, without further ado, let me introduce Mr. Rhys Williams and Mr. James Miller.
Thank you very much. Chris, fantastic speech, very funny, especially the Mr. Perfect thing. You all know Chris, that's not So, as obviously I'm being filmed, so I'll see that in a court of law. First of all, I'd like to thank you all for coming. For anyone who doesn't know me, I am James, aka Best Man #1. Chris is quite greedy and likes to have more than one of everything. So, now, Chris may come across as somewhat like the conservative chap, but I'm afraid it's all a lie. See, he does in fact have so many tales of smut and debauchery that he needs 2 of us to get through them all. First of all, I'd like to start off on a polite note and just point out how stunning Charlotte looks. It has, of course, confirmed what many of us already know, that Chris is punching so far above his weight that I'm not even sure that they're playing the same sport. Now, I've spent quite a long time wondering how best to describe Chris, and I have to say I've found it really quite tough to describe him in just one sentence. You see, Chris is a man who truly defies description. I could speak for an hour about him, and when I'm finished, we'd be no closer to grasping the essential essence of my very dear friend here. And yet, miraculously, he can be very neatly summed up with a single internationally recognised hand gesture. A hand gesture that Chris was all too familiar with up until he met Charlotte. Now, Chris gave me the honour of being one of his best men, as he wanted me to paint a picture of him in his slightly younger days. Now, I'm sure you all would have noticed that there's an envelope on your table saying, "Do not open until the best man speech." I am the best man that you need to open that envelope for, so please do so. I didn't realise it was going to take quite this long for you to open the envelope, so oh yeah, I haven't got any more shapes to send. So. Now, in this envelope, you'll find a young Chris and I during our college days. I believe this picture was taken in the pub just before our media studies A-level exam. Actually, I think it was English literature, actually, so something like that. No, it was just before the exam, not after. Now, just in case you don't recognise this, Chris is the long-haired hunk at the front, who is attempting quite pathetically to grow a beard and looking more like he's balancing a dead slug on his top lip. And I'm the spiky-haired, bloated tosser to the left, who thought he was cool enough to wear sunglasses inside, like some kind of pubescent Liam Gallagher. Now, I first met Chris 13 years ago at West Kent College as a spotty and hormonal 17-year-old. There I was on my first day at college, quite baffled and confused about the timetable that I'd just been given by our tutor. So, who attempts to come to my rescue? But another spotty and hormonal 17-year-old with floppy hair and bum fluff, donning that suave and sophisticated look of ill-fitting jeans, an oversized Arsenal shirt topped with a leather jacket, looking somewhat like a poor man's David Seaman. That's the sad thing. He then proceeds to try and help me make sense of this ridiculous timetable that I've been given, which helps neither of us turn up to lectures on time. Now, on my first day, come lunchtime, Chris was then kind enough to give me a brief tour of the college. The tour consisted of the toilet, the exit, and the long main road leading all the way down to the Foresters Arms pub, as featured in the picture. The Foresters Arms, with their famous cheesy chips, cheap lagers, and their fantastically liberal attitude to the legal drinking age. But on the whole, Chris was always somewhat a model pupil at college, and was always dedicated to studying in great detail. Every single lager, ale, and bitter that the Foresters Arms had to offer. And it was in this pub that I learned two important things about Chris. Firstly, despite Chris boasting of how good he was at stroking a piece of wood between his hands, it's safe to say that his pool skills were anything but legendary. The second thing I learned was Chris's complete obsession with cheesy pop rock music. When he wasn't losing at pool, you'd often find him glued to the pub's jukebox. And whilst other students would be putting on artists like Snoop Dogg and Jay-Z, Chris would strut up to the jukebox, slot in his 50p, and put in Bon Jovi's Living on a Prayer. Classic, classic. You're going to hear that tonight for sure. But our strict lifestyle didn't just revolve around drinking. A strict and healthy diet was pivotal to our dedication to our studies. A strict routine of Chinese takeaway on a Monday, McDonald's on a Tuesday, a bargain bucket on a Wednesday, a nutritious Subway on a Thursday before noshing down on a Whopper on a Friday. And now I take you to Exhibit B. Now, as we all know, Chris is a huge arse. Sorry. As we all know, Chris is a huge Arsenal fan. Sorry. Slight smudge on the page there. Which is why I was shocked when I turned up to his stag, finding him wearing an I Love Tottenham t-shirt. Apparently Chris was overheard saying, and I quote, that Tottenham are a far better team than Arsenal these days, and as a dedicated glory hunter, I simply could not go on supporting Arsenal a day longer. It's a really shocking display of loyalty there, mate. It's not that long, it's just really big font. So it's fun. He also sees himself as somewhat of a talented goalkeeper, which is a talent I've seen very little of, despite years of playing football with him in long summer afternoons in the park. Now, after a long week at college, we would often spend our Friday nights unwinding with a few drinks in spoons before moving on to a mediocre nightclub. Our epic nights out at Cape Passa being a firm favourite. And it also gave us the opportunity to attempt, and mostly fail, to attract the local women with our dance moves. Usher's song Usher's song Yeah, being a favourite song to repel women to. And on weekends, Chris became somewhat a permanent feature at my mum's. And on every Saturday morning, my poor and patient mother would be faced with the sight of a comatose, dribbling Chris, smelling of ale, Smirnoff Ice, doner kebab and sweat, sprawled out on her sofa with nothing but his Homer Simpson's pants on. But there was more to Chris in his youth than just a beer-swilling, football-loving fashion guru of West Kent College. He was also the only 17-year-old that could somehow pull off the saying, "What the Dickens?" Still don't know you pulled that one off, mate. He was also somewhat a rather stubborn chap. And when it came to admitting to hangovers, he would often blame the morning spent with his head down the toilet bowl on the curry or kebab, and often disregarding the 8 or 9 pints that went with it. Now, I can't mention Chris without mentioning my own lovely wife, Lauren, who is also named Chris for many, many years. In fact, Chris was actually with me the first time I met Lauren, and despite her bearing witness to my dance and garage MCing skills, did agree to see me again. And I remember sitting down with Chris a few weeks later over a quiet pints, telling him in all seriousness that I thought I'd met someone really special. And Chris did what all good friends should do. He smiled and nodded before asking if she had any attractive friends. And try it on he did, with each and every one of them. But Chris would always make one fatal error when trying to impress Lauren's friends. You see, despite wowing them with his air guitar skills and knowledge of cheese music, or offering to take them out for a beer and a burger at Wetherspoons, he would always come to me complaining that he found himself stuck in the dreaded friend zone. Again. However, in all seriousness, I now see his flawless ability for Chris to make friends with women as a true attribute to his character. You see, with Chris, he never puts on an act. He's always himself. He's an honest, loyal and supportive person, and I'm truly proud to call you my friend. And we all know you'll make a fantastic husband, so I'd like you all to raise a glass, if I had one, to the happy couple.
Happy couple.
Now for the real smut and debauchery. I'll welcome Rhys.
Thank you, James. Thank you. Hi, guys. Before I start, and I get the evils from Chris, I do want to say how beautiful, Charlotte, you do look today. Chris, yeah. I do have a message before I start my own, and it's from an absent friend. Dear Chris and Charlotte, many congratulations. We are so excited for you and send our apologies for not being able to fly back from Malaysia. Here's to the start of many exciting adventures you will have together as husband and wife. With love, Tom and Sarah. For those of you that don't know me and my relationship with Chris, so James had the younger years and I had the uni years. We met each other in his degree, which was media studies. I was only doing some modules at that time. But we always seemed to be put together, didn't we? And we were always together for presentations. You have done fantastic today. You were diabolical back then. There was one presentation I know Chris is going to remember rather fondly. It was a lovely, lovely day and I was getting absolutely blottoed with my housemates for Christmas. I returned upstairs to find my phone with about 30 missed calls from Chris. Panicking, I phoned him just in case, health issues or something like that. And the message went something like this. Oh, expletive, we are in the expletive presentation is expletive tomorrow. My huh was not responded fondly by. We had done nothing on this presentation. I thought it was the week after. So, Chris rather graciously came round with me dribbling cranberry sauce everywhere. We crammed in a session and did the best presentation I think you'll ever see. The way we got about it, we stood up, we posed the question to everyone else. It was fantastic, wasn't it? They answered it for us. And in fact, I think that was the best score we ever got, wasn't it? We got something that was good. So yeah, that was it first. Chris was always a support for me in uni, actually. In fact, one night you were a physical support for me. We were going on a pub crawl and we did a 3-legged race around the pub. And I believe your fondest moment of me is where we had to stand next to a bin so I could urinate. Because I could not fit down the stairs. As you can see, I'm a portly fellow. And attached to Chris, who's of decent size, could not fit down the stairs together. So we had to suffer me next to the bin urinate. Very fond memories of you. It's not just Chris who has been a crutch for me, but I'd like to think I've been a crutch for him. It would be a bloody lie though, wouldn't it? Because I love winding you up. If any of you have seen Chris's strops, they are legendary. Amazing. In fact, my favourite moment of one of your strops is when your favourite football team, Spurs, when they lost and you kicked the socket off a wall. I've never seen a tantrum so big in my life. I don't even know how you can do that. But seriously, you have been a decent wingman on occasions. I'll never forget one night, just me, Natalie and you, we went up to the SU in the 3rd year thinking we were so cool, but we were really, really old and that, you know, compared to everyone else who were there, were freshers. Chris thought, oh, I know, maybe I'll impress the women without glasses this time. So he decided to put them away. And as I was pointing out the young ladies that were passing, this happened. Natalie was cringing beyond belief between the both of us. It was a horrible sight. Absolutely horrible. One thing I have absolutely admired about Chris is his complete inability to tell an interesting story. Now, he did fantastic there. That was preparation, and you could see the love that went into that speech. But if he has an interesting story, and I say interesting because he believes the topic is interesting, he will tell that with such enthusiasm and such gusto, and with his infamous giggle, that you believe that what's going to come is going to be the best punchline ever. And then it ends. And you're wondering, what was that about? There is footage of said things, and I don't have it with me, but fantastic. It's an amazing skill. Amazing. He's slightly concerned about my stories, but I don't think they're that bad, to be honest. I think, really, truly, you know how much I admire you as a friend, and you are a good man, and you will make Charlotte a good husband. Chris, it has been a pleasure to share these later years with you. It is just a chapter of your life, and now you go into a new chapter with Charlotte. So I'd like you all to stand up and raise your glasses to toast the new Mr. and Mrs. Aylward. Mr. and Mrs. Aylward. Mr. and Mrs. Aylward. Thank you.
Let's take one more for Rich and James. And that concludes the speeches and the formal part of the evening. I suspect there'll be a cutting of a cake at some stage, but later on we'll be down to Mr. Tony Dillon, who's going to entertain us on the dance floor. I hope everyone will take part and join in and have a great evening. So thank you very much, and look forward to the rest of the evening. Thank you.